So welcome to our PED Lunch and Learn about the digital building application process known as ePLANS for the City of Hamilton. In today's Lunch and Learn, I'd like to welcome staff from the Building Division, including Dio Ortiz, Manager of Building Engineering and Zoning, Radek Wodzinowski, Building Engineer, and Evan Inrig, Plans Examiner. This team will provide an overview of the high-level strategic considerations needed for implementing an online digital solution and demonstrate the Building Division's online system for building permit application processes known as ePLANS. A few notes before we begin. This Lunch and Learn will be recorded, and also please ensure that your microphones are muted. At the end, there will be a Q&A session where everybody can submit their questions in the chat using the chat bubble, and we'll have the speakers answer some questions. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dio.
Very good picture, Dio.
It's my daughter, but it's not what I'm presenting. Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, sorry about that little hiccup. So first of all, thank you, Sylvia, for the introductions, and good afternoon to everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to today's edition of the PED Lunch and Learn. Radek, Evan, and myself are very happy that you have chosen to take some of your valuable time and made the effort to join us online to allow us to share and introduce to you the Building Division's ePLANS. So today, presenting is, as Sylvia said, is Evan Inrig, Radek, and myself. We are all active users of and are well-versed in the ePLANS system. You are most welcome to contact any one of us if you have any follow-up questions after today's presentation. Today's agenda will comprise of a brief introduction of the ePLANS system, followed by a high-level but very brief demo of the ePLANS application process. It will attempt to give you the ePLANS perspective from both an applicant and an internal staff. It should be noted, and as you will see, the applications will be entirely fictional and is not associated to any actual development on the fictional property. It is by no means a comprehensive, but rather a demo that is, but rather to show the highlights of the ePLANS system. Following the demonstration, there will be a brief overview of some of the strategic considerations for those who are contemplating an online digital submission system for their area. There will be an opportunity for a Q&A afterwards, and we will do our best to answer any questions you may have. Additionally, if you have any questions during the presentation, you can send it using the WebEx chat feature. So, what is ePLANS? ePLANS is an online building permit application system that replaces our conventional paper-based service in the building division. ePLANS allows for online submissions of electronic and digital drawings and documents. ePLANS, for all intents and purposes, is an online one-stop service for building permit applicants. This service covers the entire process from application submission to review and approval to permit and document retrieval. The service is available to everyone from homeowners, contractors, professional designers to large developers. What does ePLANS provide? As we said, it's a full service, from application issuance to everything in between. It offers business process efficiency by offering improved transparency and accountability through workflow systems and the ability to monitor revisions and resubmission cycles. It offers excellent communication tools, which includes features for commenting, comparing, notifying, and reporting. It allows you to leverage and give you the capability of interoperability with other business software applications, such as any of the corporate applications, websites, Outlook, existing back office systems like Amanda, etc. And more importantly, it offers better tools for staff, which include digital markups, online communication, and ready access to information and other documents. So, how does ePLANS work? To start with, the architecture of ePLANS is a multi-platform and comprises of 3 systems. The first is what the public sees and accesses and is called the Web Public Portal. Web Public Portal was developed using what's called Smart Guide, which is a AlphaNet software. The next is the PDox system by Evolve. This is both a public and staff-facing system. PDox is the primary collaboration tool used extensively for both the public and staff throughout the building permit review and approval lifecycle. The last system is Amanda by Calaterra, which is the building division's main back office database and is a staff-facing only system. All 3 of these systems are tightly integrated and function as a single system for the ePLANS service. So some important information on the ePLANS project itself. So after a 20-month project development, ePLANS was soft launched on August 27, 2018. And by the way, for those of you who are contemplating a solution for their area, I strongly recommend doing a soft launch as it allows you to ensure the system works as properly and as anticipated in a live environment, but through a smaller group rather than the larger audience. Full launch commenced on January 28, 2019, and to date, we have over 2,777 submissions, and these include everything from small signs to large multi-story development. To give you some perspectives and appreciation of building permit activity and volumes, these 10-year averages show how significant the construction activity in the city of Hamilton has been. The volumes indicate that ePLANS is already a significant part of the service delivery for the building division. And with that, enough of my introductions, and we'll now show you the ePLANS system. ePLANS can be directly accessed through this link as shown there. The link directs users to the main landing page of the city service on the city website. So we'll bring you there now. So as you can see here, the page provides general information and resources to the public on the building permit process. There are user guides for those who are tactile learners and prefer written instructions. Although it's currently under development, we actually removed the ones that were there because of an upgrade to the system. But we will replace that and we'll provide videos for those who are visual learners. ePLANS can be accessed directly on this button link. When users click on that link, they will hit this landing page. To use ePLANS service, I lost that. To use the ePLANS service and logging in, users will need to create an account. And that simply is a process of providing a unique email address as well as other personal contact information. So I'll just get out of that for now. So once you have your user account and accessing ePLANS, users will be presented what we call a dashboard. And in this dashboard, users will have access to all of the current and previous applications as shown here. So it's a listing of all their previous active and current applications, and also allow them the ability to make a new application. And with that, I will now pass this off to Radek, who will show you how to submit and create a building permit application.
Thank you, Dio. In this segment, I'm going to demonstrate how to make an application using the ePLANS portal. As Dio mentioned, once our applicants log into their system, or into our system, they land on this dashboard page where they can access their applications past and present. And by clicking the details button next to an application, they can access their building permit applications and their approval drawings and their actual permits. To submit an application, you're going to see that this is a very simple and intuitive process. One simply needs to click on the button to submit an application and choose the type of application that they would like to apply for. Currently, we have building and sign permits and festival and event approval applications, but you're hoping in the future this could include many other types of applications in one convenient location for the applicants. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to create a building permit, and I'm going to use the wizard. The wizard is designed with a series of questions that are specific to the type of permit that we're applying for. We are going to apply for a construction permit, and these questions are dynamic and change with each type of application. The whole system is designed to essentially categorize the permit for us in our Amanda database system, and it's all happening automatically. This is very useful because in the past, or I shouldn't say in the past, we're still doing this, but with paper applications, staff have to manually update these in the Amanda system in order to categorize the permit. And I will select a beauty parlor. And like I said, these are all dynamic. So I've selected commercial application. If this was an industrial application, these would all be different. And I can simply move forward and track my progress in the top right-hand corner. A new construction, and it takes me to the final page here, which is a summary page. And at this point, once I click continue, the system's actually already created an application and categorized it for us. A building permit must be assigned or associated with a property, so I will use Main Street East as a fictitious address. You notice that applicants can't search, and it is actually pulling this data from our database, so there are no frivolous addresses used. And I can see now that I have a commercial beauty parlor new construction permit at 71 Main Street. I'll put a description in. This next page is really important because it actually mimics our standard application form that is required to be submitted with each application. Once again, all of these fields that are populated here by the applicant will be automatically updated in our command system. And this saves us a lot of time because we don't have to do this manually. If you bear with me, I'm just going to move quickly through this. And I'm going to say I am the applicant, I am the owner, and I am a professional. I'm not going to populate the owner fields, but again, all of these get populated in our Amanda system. All of this can be customized to your business solution. So if you have your own applications, you can definitely make changes to cater to your own business. And the applicant finally has to digitally sign off on their application to attest that everything is true, and then to pay some fees. Fee is obviously more than $12, but this is just a fictitious application, as Dio mentioned before. And we are actually providing applicants with the option to pay a nominal fee currently to encourage the use of our ePLANS software. At this point, the payment's been successful and the applicant would have received an email receipt. And the last step in this process is to simply upload drawings. The applicants could be ready with their drawings at this time, but they may not be. We offer the option to proceed forward, and the application will still be accessible to them in their ePLANS dashboard. So it will be created, but it won't be formally submitted to the City of Hamilton. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to upload some drawings to show you what that looks like. You'll notice that I jumped from portal to another page here, and this is actually the Project Docs software. Transition was seamless, and it is a little bit more or a little less intuitive than the portal system itself, but we do send an email to the applicants with a detailed step-by-step process. Having said this, it's still a very easy task to do. Applicants are simply asked to accept their task and to upload their drawings using the common Windows-based system. I can simply browse for files, and like I said, it's a Windows-based system, and upload my files. I hope everybody saw that. So from this point, I can go to upload files and browse for files and select them and upload them. Now that I've uploaded my file, I simply click on I have uploaded all required drawings and documents. I'm happy, and I will complete my application and notify the City of Hamilton. At this stage, the application would get screened, and I will, with that said, I will hand this over to my colleague Evan to talk about the application screening process. Thank you.
Thank you, Radek. The first step that staff has with the application is the pre-screen phase. Pre-screen is where the staff will determine whether or not we can accept the application for review. It's a very important step of the application process, and the staff will typically complete this with the same day the application is made or the next business day. Applicants for permits on ePLANS or permits in general can range in different experience levels, and they may not fully understand the different documents and different requirements necessary to have a building permit accepted. So it's not always beneficial to have every single permit accepted. If there's missing information, it's best to notify the applicant as soon as possible rather than putting them through the review cycle. So here we're greeted at the ePLANS Project Docs login page, and we'll be logging in as a pre-screener. We're greeted at our home screen, and we can see we have a couple pre-screen applications right here. So at this point, the applicant has already made their submission, as Radek was showing, and now us as the pre-screener are ready to review their submission. So we'll open up 1011 Beach Boulevard, which is a sample application. So as a pre-screener, we would go through the drawings and documents folder to determine if we have enough information to accept for review. For this sample application, we're going to return it to the applicant and ask for a couple additional items. And we do this by using what we call a checklist. And to access our checklist, we'll open the pre-screen reviewer task. We'll open up this task, and we can see the checklist items. We have the option to view and edit them. Open that. So we can see that I've already added several different items. Each item is completely customizable. We can input any text we need to address our different concerns. We can put different contact info for different departments, whether or not site plan approval is required, stuff of that nature, require different documents. These items, they can also be standardized. So if there's reoccurring items that are appearing from multiple applications, we can just put a simple comment in and add it to our checklist. And this presents a nice, clean, organized list for the applicant to view, so they clearly know what documents we are requiring. So we'll save this. Oftentimes, when a permit is applied for in person, the applicant is given a verbal confirmation of what they need to do, or maybe a written list of different documents required to have the permit accepted. The unfortunate side of this is these conversations aren't always fully remembered by the applicant, and then a handwritten list can easily go missing. thus causing the applicant to miss certain requirements and therefore postponing the acceptance of a permit. With ePLANS, this checklist is always linked to the application, and the applicant can always view it as needed. And at this point, we'll return this to the applicant. When we hit the Return to Applicant button, this will send an email automatically from ePLANS to the applicant, prompting them to log into ePLANS to view these checklist items. Go back to our home screen, take a look at our second application, which is 314 Locke Street South. Once again, this is another sample application. Unlike the first application, this application is at its second stage of pre-screen, meaning that that staff has already sent comments and now the applicant is responding to them. So we'll open up our checklist once again. We can see our original comments here, and the applicant has made a response. And what we would do at this point is, once again, go through our drawings and documents folders to see if they've uploaded the correct documents we were looking for. If so, we have a nice visual tool where we can show that the drawing or the document has, or the requirement has been resolved. For this example, we're going to say that it has been. And we'll approve this pre-screen. Once we approve the pre-screen, this prompts the pre-screener user to the next task, which would be assigning the users or the reviewers to review this application. So we'll accept this task. At this point, we can select individual sections that are required to review this application. And theoretically, we could even add separate departments that may be required in the future if that's an option. For this example, we'll just keep it simple, and we'll assign it to myself. We'll click Begin Review. And this automatically updates our Amanda file that is linked to this application, and we'll begin cycle 1 of the review. Let's give that a second to load, and we'll take a look at the Amanda file. Viewing the Amanda file at 314 Locke Street, open up the folder, view our permit application, and under our process tabs, we can see the process has already begun. And another nice feature with ePLANS is because it's directly linked to Amanda, it presents us a nice timeline of this application, and we'll view that right now. So with the timeline, we can see when the drawings were received, when we asked for corrections, when the applicant responded, and when we finally accepted the permit for review. At this point, I'd like to bring Radek back, and he will explain how the review process takes place and how to mark up a drawing.
Thank you, Evan. So as a plans examiner, staff accesses project docs directly with the login into their own account, and they access this main page where they see their tasks and all the tasks associated with different projects. This list is dynamic and gets updated anytime we receive a new application that's been assigned to a staff member, or anytime that we receive a response from the public to an active application. This is important and very handy to us because we can actually, it's not uncommon to get an application response on the same day or within a couple of days of reviewing a permit. With our paper applications, it's again not uncommon to send out a response, and by the time the applicant receives it and prepares their drawings and couriers those drawings and having it processed at the front counter and then sent to the engineer, several days or weeks might pass and the application is no longer fresh in your mind. So the benefit of this is that we can see a response that's coming in, and when the permit's fresh in our mind, we can turn that permit around much quicker than we would with the permit or with the paper applications. This page organizes all of my tasks in one convenient location by due date, but I can use the search strings or the search functions to search out permits. I can also access recent projects that I've worked on or all of the projects in the city of Hamilton. To review an application, I would have to select it and accept the task. As you've already seen in the application process and in the pre-screen process, this is pretty familiar. This is a task-based software, and our customers are becoming more aware and more handy with this system, and they are now comfortable with accepting tasks and handling it this way. As a reviewer, I would just go back here. I'm going to use this project here, and I've got some fresh tasks. So as you can see, I have a zoning task, an architectural department review, structural review, and a building admin task associated with my account. These have been assigned to me, but they do not need to be assigned to a single individual. This is a discipline-based approach, and the software allows for simultaneous review by various individuals. You can have any number of individuals, any number of tasks, and these are all customizable. They have been customized for the building division, but they can be renamed to suit your business needs. To review drawings, I will select architectural department task, which brings up this window, and I will begin reviewing the drawings. The key point of Project Docs is that it's a fantastic communication tool that we can use. And the reason for this is we can use the graphical tools available in Project Docs to convey our message much clearer and easier and better. For example, I can cloud things, I can point at them. It is, again, not uncommon for us to receive phone calls after we send a review letter on a paper application asking for clarification on some of the items. Unfortunately, we cannot be as clear as we can with this software with the graphical tools available on a paper application, but this software does allow a much better approach to handling any items of concern on a review. Another important part of Project Docs is this button here called the change marks. It once again allows for a variety of different tools, graphical tools, but this time it places a placeholder that can be used to organize our thoughts. So I will create a few of these items. So let's just say that I had 2 items of concern or areas of concern on this drawing. I can create change marks as placeholders and identify these items. This makes it much simpler and easier for us to communicate with applicants. If they give us a call regarding an item, if they must, they can quickly point to the item that we're talking about, and we're all on the same page. And I'll save my work and go back to my task. And you'll notice now that I've got 2 change marks in this list provided to the applicant. There are some additional features that I can use here to communicate with applicants, such as the reviewer comments text box and the applicants correspond with their own text box, the applicant response text box. So everything is one convenient location for us. It makes our reviews much simpler. At this step, the next step, I would essentially send the application back to the applicant for corrections. There is another feature that I want to show that is very important to us, part of the Project Docs suite, and it's called versioning control. So as you will notice, in this drawing here, we have a version number 2. This is as if the applicants have responded to our original review comments and uploaded a revised drawing with the same file name. It has to be the same file name in order for the versioning control to take over, and the file must have something different in order for versioning control to work. But when it works, it allows us to compare drawings from revision cycle to revision cycle in order to see exactly what's been changed. And to do that, I would use this feature here and click on the compare mode and select the 2 versions that I'd like to compare. And this brings up the drawings side by side. This is something that we struggle with on our applications, because when we get resubmissions, we always, especially if some time has passed, we may not know what's changed specifically, and there's always a concern that they might have, I don't want to say snuck something in, but changed something, maybe inadvertently they did not cloud their changes, and then we're essentially worried about approving something that we have not reviewed. This eliminates that. I can clearly see in these drawings that the stairs have moved, but Project Docs allows us to do better. It allows us to see the additions and the deletions. The additions are in green, so that we see clearly that the stairs have moved from the original place. And that is the only change on this drawing. Again, this really hastens our review time, because I don't have to worry that anything else has changed and re-review the drawings. And with that said, I'm going to hand this over to Evan to go over the permit finalization process.
Thank you, Radek. The final step for the plans examiner or building engineer is the batch stamping process. This is where the drawings and documents are approved within a digital approval stamp, which will save a significant amount of time for the examiner. Copying notes onto a second set of drawings for a permit paper application takes up a great amount of time, especially for a large ICI building where the drawing package could be over 100 sheets. ePLANS will eliminate this with one simple step. The examiner is able to simply select the files they wish to approve, and the system will automatically stamp them and move them directly into Amanda. It's an automatic process which doesn't require any action on the part of staff to have the drawings appear into Amanda. Here we're greeted at the Project Docs ePLANS login page once again. This time we'll be logging in as a plans examiner, as myself. We'll see our first sample application, 38 Magnolia Drive. And we'll open that up. We can see we're at our final stage, batch stamp, which means the permit's been accepted for review. It's met all approvals, and now we're ready to issue the building permit. So we'll accept this task. We'll select our template, which would be our signature. And we can expand the drawings folder. We can simply select all, and all the drawings will be approved. We can also deselect certain files if we don't wish to have everything approved. And we can go through our documents folder as well and approve any documents that we want to be approved in a part of this approval package. In this case, we'll just approve the one plan, the site plan, and we'll click complete. So something that would normally take hours if it was a large paper package, it's literally done with one click of a button. And we'll let this process complete. Now when we view our Amanda file, we'll go to 38 Magnolia Drive, open up the folder and the permit. Under the attachments, the approved drawing will be displayed. And we can see the approval stamp in the top right corner. Now I'd like to invite Dio back, and he will explain how the applicant receives the approved permit package. Oh, you're just on mute there, Dio.
You're muted, Dio. Dio?
Dio, I've unmuted you, but maybe try taking your headset out of your laptop and use the laptop speaker and microphone.
Sorry, Dio, I just wanted to make sure that you're not going through your presentation when we can't hear you.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't realize it was not working at the time. Once the user receives an email notification that the permit is issued, as you saw in the earlier part, you log in and you go back to your dashboard. Once you select the permit, so in this case, as I showed you earlier, 38 Magnolia was the permit in question, and they simply click on the Details button. On the Details button, it'll show you, obviously, the particulars of that application, and at the very bottom will be the list of approved documents. As Evan showed you earlier, the approved drawing, so if we wanted to view this, we would get the same approved drawing that was back in the Amanda system. And to confirm, here is the batch stamp with Evan's signature, and the date it was approved. The exact same one that was actually in the back office system. Similarly, if we needed to pick our permit and view it, we would then have access, or the user has access to the actual approved permit and all of the associated attachment. In this case, this is the permit card that's required for display on site. The applicants would be able to print this out. So normally they would go ahead and click on this button, and they would in turn choose the location and or the file names that they wish to download it to. Okay. So that brings us to the end of the entire permit life cycle. As you can see, the ePLANS system gives the users convenient and easy access to their building permits, drawings, and applications. Now that you have seen ePLANS, the obvious question is, should you go digital, and why go digital? To best answer this question, pictures are worth 1,000 words. For the building division, three key reasons came up, and that is space, space, and more space. There was an immediate need to reduce or eliminate the tremendous volume and management of paper documents and files. So these include these large format roll drawings, folded paper plans, paper files, all of which required a significant amount of on-site and off-site storage. Additionally, we needed to eliminate the need to maintain archaic and legacy microfiche systems. These are microfiche files, viewing equipment, and trying to find any available vendors that are still able to maintain and repair these archaic systems. And most significantly, the need to eliminate the very laborious and time-consuming manual work of stamps and manual markups. So why go digital? There are inherent savings to going digital, namely going paperless. It is environmentally friendly and decreases wasted space. As noted earlier, it addresses storage concerns. That includes online available capacity and space, off-site facilities, and any of your retention rules for these paper documents. It raises the service levels and meets expectations of the industry and citizens. It provides consistency and accountability through standards. It provides ready and instant access to information. It provides efficiency, which could lead to cost savings. And as this COVID pandemic has shown, it ensures service continuity during a crisis and emergency. So, taking all of that into consideration, is your business area ready to go digital? Wanting and being able to go digital are two separate questions. You need to make an honest and accurate assessment of your business area's state of readiness and take several issues under consideration. So evaluate your operational and organizational readiness. From a software perspective, is there a back office system? Does it translate well to online? Is it ready for integration with APIs and web services? Or do you need to replace and update existing or get new ones? From a hardware perspective, you need to consider monitors. Will it be double, single, touch screens, stands, mounts? Are you going to have counter service or kiosks? Will you need additional servers? Is it going to be an on-prem or a cloud solution? Will you need wireless devices? Are you going to allow for remote versus in-office? Dealing with your stakeholders and outreach. Is the industry and demographics ready? Are your partners ready to receive your digital files? You may have digital submissions, but your commenting agencies and other groups may not be. So you do need to consider that. Your bylaws and policy procedures, do they need to be modified? Are there legislative requirements that are impacted? Timelines, signatures, witnesses? Do your fees need to be updated? Do you need to change your submission requirements? Your staffing and training. Do you need to establish new staff rules and expectations, modify workflows, and how you communicate with your clients? These are some of the considerations that you need to take into consideration. Other key considerations? You need to establish what is your true objective of wanting to go digital. Is it for the benefit of staff, enhancing or supplementing your existing service, establishing an entirely new way to do business, or is it simply just to meet the needs of your demographics or industry? To what degree of change do you want to assume? Is it going to simply be an intake repository or a full end-to-end solution? Are all applications going to be accepted this way or only select categories? And more significantly, are you going to go cold turkey all at once, or will there be a transition period? And what type of solution are you going to choose? Is it going to be a full integration, meaning utilizing your existing systems, or is it a new system with a new way to do business as well? You do need to assess the impact to current businesses and existing business processes as well. It may need to be reassessed and optimized or abandoned entirely. And your existing business may not necessarily translate well to an online system. You need to also face the reality that there may be no cost savings. It may require new resources such as online customer support and administration, technical support and development, and additional sustainable costs to keep this system going. And lastly, and I think most importantly, is recognizing that this is not a corner of the desk project. You need dedicated staff and project managers, strong leadership, and an understanding of the significant change management. This brings us to the end of the ePLANS presentation. we hope that we were able to show the best features of ePLANS. And for those that have been mulling and considering an online solution, we hope that we provided some small insights on how an online digital submission system could be realized in your work area. Thank you, and if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer this with the remaining time we have.
Thank you. So this brings us to our Q&A period. So in case anybody missed the information before the presentation, if anybody has a question, please write it in the chat box in the WebEx chat bubble. It looks like we have one question here for the team. It comes from Alyssa Golden. The question is, does this mean that the existing microfiche files will be digitized and linked to Amanda?
So I can answer that question. For existing records, there's actually a separate project that we're going to be digitizing and converting, but none of those records will be accessible through ePLANS or through Amanda at the moment. There's no integration piece. It will be a separate repository.
Great, thank you, Dio. So I'm just scanning the chat box to see if there are any other questions. So I think there's one here from Binu. It might have been answered already, but Binu is asking, can we overlay the plans and see any changes?
I'll take this. I guess I answered Binu, but yes, as you can see in my presentation, the software allows for a very useful way to overlay and see changes with the additions and deletions in green and red. So yes, we can do that definitely, and it's a great feature.
Great, thank you. One more question from Melissa. Who do we contact to update information or the language in the standard generated letters? For instance, heritage letters.
I'll take that. Yeah, you can absolutely contact myself for one, or any one of managers or supervisors, and they can initiate that changes for you.
Next question is from Angela Monaco. For non-building staff interested in this type of information, what are the advantages of using ePLANS versus Amanda?
I'll answer that again too. So there are several advantages. First of all, you can still have access to the system. I mean, you can be granted that. Let me clarify that. And you would have access to all of the information that is not in Amanda, because again, the Amanda system is the main repository, but the workflow goes through project docs. So if you needed to access any particular type of permit, again, provided you're granted those permissions, you would be able to do that through the portal or through project docs directly.
Next question from Ken Coit. Have you done any outreach to the user groups? It is a great improvement over the old days, but the architects have some concerns and may need more training.
So I can say that we did reach out to a pilot group, which included architects, and in fact, many of our system design was as a result of those recommendations from the architect. Obviously, we couldn't accommodate all of their suggestions. And for example, architects are reluctant to submit as the applicant, and we created a mechanism in which they are applying on behalf of the property owners or other agencies. yes, and we are constantly in touch with architects and designers, and where we have an opportunity to make changes, as we had done in our most recent update, we'll continue to do those based on the feedback from stakeholders like the architects.
Thank you for that question, for that answer, Dio. So I think that brings us to the end of our question period. If anybody has any additional follow-up questions, by all means, feel free to reach out to either Dio, Radek, or Evan. And as always, if you have a project idea or initiative in mind that you're working on and you'd like to showcase it in a PED Lunch and Learn, please feel free to reach out to myself as well as any member of the Employee Engagement Committee with your idea. We welcome new ideas for topics and are always searching for innovative and interesting projects that are happening across the city. So with that, this brings our PED Lunch and Learn to an end. Thank you to our speakers, Dio, Radek, and Evan for the presentation, and thank you everybody for being a great audience. Enjoy the rest of your summer, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.